What are they teaching our kids in school? What are they teaching our kids about American history? Did you know that just 12% of our kids have any kind of comprehension about American history? That's what the Department of Education says about their own programs. Only 22% understand anything about checks and balances. The Pulitzer Prize winning author David McCullough says that our children's ignorance of history is a threat to national security. So instead of teaching about history, what are we learning? We're learning about multiculturalism. We're learning about Islamic propaganda. We're learning about the gay agenda. We're learning about the UN agenda. So what does the public school want? What do they say they need to improve teaching? Well, here's Randi Weingarten, head of the most powerful teachers union in the United States. She's telling you they need more money. I don't think so. We're looking at a picture of Randi Weingarten, head of the most powerful teachers union in the country. And what's she doing? Why is her mouth so wide open? She's asking for more money, of course. More money and union benefits. And that's supposed to help us. Let's take a serious look to see whether we really need to spend more money on schools, or maybe there might just be another problem. Look at this chart from the Cato Institute. This is a pretty smart a group of guys. And look at that blue line. That's school spending. Look at it go up, up. Look at that. 375% increase since 1970. 375%. Okay, let's see some terrific performance. Roll the performance. Wait a minute. Is that the performance line? Why isn't it going up? The spending is going up. What happened to it? It's reading, math, and science. It's not going up. It looks like it's going down. Could it be going down? Look at that. 25% decline in performance scores, but spending has gone up 375%. And Randi Weingarten wants to spend even more money on schools. Do we really need to spend some more money on schools? Let's talk a little bit about spending and performance. Now, you saw that chart. That was federal spending, the Department of Education spending. This year, $80 billion for the Department of Education. And remember, they don't teach one single student. What is the total education spending at? It's $600 billion. Now, they teach a lot of kids, but unfortunately, they don't teach them very well. Let me give you a few statistics. Let's talk a little bit about some more results of the public school system. Since 1963, when the Supreme Court outlawed prayer in school, and since the teachers' union was started in 1979, let's take a look and see what's going on. 33% of fourth graders this year are functionally illiterate, according to, again, the Department of Education's own data. New York spends $17,000 per student, and yet 42% of the kids in New York public schools drop out. The American educational system ranks 25th in math and science of all developed nations worldwide. Of the developed nations, we're in the bottom third, yet we spend more money than anybody. The Department of Education head, Arne Duncan, says 80% of schools are failing with no child left behind. Let me give you some very sad things. This just kills me. Suicide is the third largest cause of death among these same young people. Suicide. When I was in school, we used to get in trouble for sticking gum under the desk. In 2010, there were 35 million prescriptions written for ADD and depression among kids. We were playing baseball. We were having a great time. What is going on? 20% of eighth graders have used marijuana. 15% of high school students are using amphetamines. 75% of kids who attend church while they're at home in high school drop out when they go to college. Maybe, just maybe, we've lost our moral foundation. Now I want to give you some headlines of some recent stories that I think are going to help you understand this a little bit more and a little bit about what kids are being taught in school. Let me share this school cartoon with you. This is priceless. On the left is a picture of people starving under the American capital system. Notice they're in tatters. And notice the wealthy, pot-bellied millionaire is taking money from them. That's the capitalist system as we have in America, at least according to an Iowa school. Under communism, in this cartoon on the right, the people get money. Well, it doesn't say where they get money. They just get bags of money, and you know, notice their smiles. They're happy people. So clearly, this school is saying communism is better than capitalism. Let me give you a few other headlines. Frank Gaffney on the report card says that the Council on Islamic American Relations is targeting U.S. schools for jihad. They're in the schools. Florida education groups are protesting Hamas operatives speaking in Tampa schools. Here's some more. Judge gets it right. Chicano study rules are anti-American. This was in Arizona, where there was a Chicano course that said there had to be revolution, that we had to overthrow white rule. Then there was a bill to promote homosexuality in public schools that was introduced in Congress. Student punished for Christian faith. Here is a student who was asked about his faith in school. He said that he was a Christian and he abided by these certain kinds of Christian morality, and he was suspended. What's going on? What are we doing about it? Should we really be trashing our traditional values? Is that really what we should be doing? Should we listen to Randy Weingarten and give more money to the schools? I don't think so. Maybe we need to remember our foundation. Okay, so what are we doing about it? What should we do about this if more money is not the answer? Let me throw out some ideas, and we're going to be looking in the weeks ahead to fleshing these out a little bit more. But let me just give you a sense of what I think we should do, and maybe some things that we ought to quit doing. We ought to remember that this country was founded on Judeo-Christian principles. We should forget about Islamic propaganda and jihadism in schools. Now, I know some people are going to say, oh, you're an anti-Muslim bigot. No, I just don't think we should have terrorists teaching in our schools. And I think we ought to remember what our constitutional principles are. I think we should also support the spirit of American exceptionalism. This is a great country. People came here from all over the world. People learned here, grew up here, made fortunes here. We are the most generous country on the face of the earth. What is wrong with that? Why do we have to dump that? And I think we ought to forget about multiculturalism. I mean, all multiculturalism is an apology for this country. I think we need local control of schools. We don't need stuff rolling downhill from the Department of Education, these mandates that are expensive, and they don't teach kids anything. And I think we should forget about promoting Planned Parenthood to high school kids, and promoting the gay agenda, and promoting UN rule. I think we also, that leads me to the next important point. I think it's important. I think we ought to remember that we are under the rule of law, which is the Constitution. The Constitution is a durable document. It's been the foundation of all of our freedoms. Why do we want to get rid of the Constitution? Why do we want Sharia law? Why do we want to abide by Agenda 21 and obey the laws of the UN? We have sitting justices who believe that we should consider foreign laws. Ruth Bader Ginsburg went to Egypt, she was the Supreme Court justice, and said maybe Egypt should get a constitution from somewhere else in the United States, that it had flaws. We support free market capitalism. This is a free country. A man can open a business. A man can own a business and raise his family on his own business. This is what we call free market capitalism. Sometimes these businesses get very large, because of a dream, of an idea of one man. Stephen Jobs, look at what he did with Apple, and look how we benefited from Apple. Do we really need to promote socialism in school? Do we really want the government making business decisions for us, telling us how to run our lives? And do we need to teach kids that socialism and communism is the way to go? I don't think so. And I think finally, don't you think that English ought to be the language spoken? Do we really need to have multiple languages? I mean, isn't that just going to be the Tower of Babel? Isn't that going to be destruction for the United States and fragmentation? I mean, sure, learn German, learn Spanish, learn French. But the official language of our school has to be English. Let's take one last look at this chart. Let's look at that spending number. Skyrocketing, 375%. Let's look at these performance scores. Let's just take a look at these scores. Slowly going down. Reading scores down to 25%. And I want to hear from you. I want to hear from you what you think about this. And I want to hear from you about what you think we should do about it. Thanks for listening to The Report Card.